Welcome once again to Action Sports World, the show with something of a rocky theme this week. As first, we head to the European Alps as some of the world's best adventure racers tackle one of the biggest challenges of their year. That's the Swiss Iron Trail. After which, it's the technical skills of climbing indoors, under close focus and at speed in front of a paying audience. That's the Adidas Rockstars. The spectacular Swiss alpine region of Graubünden is host to one of Europe's most grueling single-stage ultra trail running races. This event truly represents the essence of mountain running, taking in stunning vistas, classic Swiss villages and superb alpine trails. It's the Swiss Iron Trail. Trail running has captured the imagination of many new athletes craving the outdoors. Helen Bonsor, this year's Transalpine Run winner in the mixed division, is one of them.
Running in the mountains is the ultimate freedom for me. The feeling of movement in the mountains and the feeling of moving quickly through the terrain. A few experiences beat that for me.
Hungarian runner Csaba Noeth has a wealth of experience with over 50 trail running wins to his name over 20 years.
Terepfutás az egy utazás, egy tipikus olyan utazás, ahol mi magunk vagyunk a
Well, for me in particular, with my experience, trail running is a journey. It's a typical journey in which we are the time travellers. Judika Vermescher was the winner of last year's Transalpine Run and this year's Zugspitze Ultra Trail. It takes place in a wonderful environment, surrounded by mountains and forests, and it definitely gives you much more than a road run. Hailing from Switzerland, Bernhard Hug has a legendary collection of top 3 finishes in some of the world's toughest races.
Trail
runners are usually outdoor people. In most cases, they're simply not runners, but they love to be out in the mountains in general. They love to climb or mountain bike, and as outdoor people, they don't bother if it's raining or exceptionally hot. And it's these athletes who combine to make a diverse team of experience and youth, making its mark on international competition.
It's really exciting to be part of this new team, and it's a real privilege to be working alongside athletes with many years of experience and internationally renowned. And these are people that I've seen in races and seen their names and results.
Over the past few years, trail running has experienced a huge boom, mainly because there have been many more good events.
Particularly in the last 5 to 2 years, there's been a big push in the ultra distances. That seems to be the new challenge which people are seeking with running.
The main difficulty is to run downhill, even on technical terrain, though you're tired, as you've already been on the way for a long time.
I don't know where the limit is, and I don't think anyone does. In the ultra-distance trail races, they're getting longer and longer, so who knows?
Well, everyone has to find out for himself what's attractive and achievable for him. Events worldwide have been reflecting this ultra-distance, no-limits trend, with course designers using the local geography to push the competitors to new levels. Currently there are no restrictions, so they can be as creative as they like.
In
my opinion, the Ultra Trail de Mont Blanc kick-started this sport. Today there are many events that last for several days and that require a lot of preparation. For sure, this is the trend now, but I think there are so many new, attractive, short-distance competitions that are interesting for the masses. It doesn't always have to be longer, tougher and more meters in altitude. I also think that the varied offerings that we have here on the Swiss Iron Trail attract people to the sport. This year, the Mammut team attended some of the key events on the calendar, including the European Skyrunning Championships at the Trans de Havre, taking 80 kilometres of Dolomite scenery. The only break from the daytime heat were the 52 tunnels that consumed 6 kilometres of the course. Joint first went to Louis Alberto and Kilian Jornet, with Mammut team member Saba taking third overall, and Ildiko coming in as sixth in the women's. In its 17th year, the Ötscher Ultra Marathon is a classic. This 70-kilometre event looped out of Lachenhof and skirted the Ötscher Mountains. Saba placed 5th overall, and Ildiko took the win. Another special event on the calendar is the Matterhorn Ultrax. It started and finished in Zermatt, traversing below the Monte Rosa massifs and their glaciers. Europe's most recognisable mountain, the Matterhorn, was omnipresent during the 46-kilometre course. This year, Spain's Kilian Jornet and Norway's Emilie Forsberg won the race. The Swiss Iron Trail was added to the calendar last year. It's an extremely long, high alpine trail that's extraordinarily challenging, both physically and mentally. Iron Trail is held at the beautiful Engadine for the second time. The finish line sits at Davos, a place that's also well known for the Swiss Alpine race. For sure, the ultra distance with 201 kilometres is more popular to the public, but there are also shorter distances like 141, 81 or 41 kilometres.
Yeah, the Iron Trails will be a really interesting race because there's some really technical alpine sections and then some more traditional trail running sections. So I think it will be a very interesting race to compete in because the terrain and the scenery will vary as you move through the race.
The Swiss Iron Trail starts in the town of Pontresina and heads up to Deviao-Leza, covering 67 kilometres before the T141 category joins the race in Samdan. At 119 kilometres, the runners are joined again by the start of the T81 category in Savonin. The shortest leg of the race joins at Lenzerheide, and all categories finish in Davos.
It's got the Scottish weather, so I couldn't ask for anything better. I think it's going to be brutal.
I feel well. I'm going to have to because this is going to be a long and tough race.
I'm good. I'll do my best.
There is two big mountains in the middle, so take care for the first half, and after we have two big mountains, and after the two big mountains we can run speed.
The runners leave Pontresina and head for the first time up through the checkpoint at over 3,000 metres above sea level at the top of Deviao-Leza, before heading back through Pontresina up to Forclaz-Serge, through Saint-Moritz and onto Samdan to be joined by the T141 category. Through the fog and rain, the first arrival at the 3,000-metre checkpoint at the Deviao-Leza is Michael Bushy. The 22-year-old local from Pontresina has climbed 1,200 vertical metres and covered the first 15 kilometres of the 201-kilometre distance. The second person to reach the checkpoint is Switzerland's Uli Schneider, who's competing in the over 40 category. Scotland's Casey Morgan is enjoying the weather, but the altitude is a challenge.
It's okay, I'm taking it easy. It's a long way to go. But the 3,000 metres.
Okay. You get.
Excellent, we did the first peak. Unfortunately, the weather doesn't seem to be getting any better. The coldness and the rain will be zapping valuable energy in this incredibly challenging race. Japan's Yukari Nishida is the second woman to make the Deviao-Leza checkpoint. She seems to be enjoying the Swiss Alps so far. 5 hours into the race and heading back down into Pontresina is local boy Michael Buchi. He's still looking strong and in the lead. In the beginning it rained, but now that it's dry, it's working out quite well. Coming back down in second place also from Switzerland is Julian Gantenbein. There's still 165 kilometres to go on the T201 course, however, and current placing almost seems arbitrary. The contestants climb nearly 1,000 vertical metres through the clouds and rain to the spectacular mountain huts at Fiorcla-Sole at 2,755 metres. The runners have 154 kilometres to go. Still in the lead is Michael Buchi, but this time it's such an early point in the race, and with these weather conditions anything can happen. Scotland's Casey Morgan is also in the mix, followed up by Germany's Andreas Alvand in his distinctive pink socks. Andreas is still in the running as there's not much splitting the top 5 at the moment. As the fog hovers over the mountain hut, Canadian-born Australian resident Bernadette Benson appears in first place. She has a whole host of ultra-running accolades to her name. In second is Yukari Nishida, and she's unfazed by the weather and the altitude. The runners drop back down to 1,000 metres along alpine paths into the classic town of St-Moritz. As the sun falls, they head into Sandown, where the runners in the T141 race join them. It's going to be a tough night for all the athletes out in the mountains.
Die äußeren Verhältnisse sind sehr, sehr streng.
Conditions are very, very difficult. With this strong rain and dusk starting, it will become dark. We'll soon reach the next pass. I think it'll be very tough.
Und ich denke, das wird sehr, sehr tough.
The T141 races make a start from the Samadan Town Sports Centre. The next section of the race takes the runners from Samadan over the Albula Pass at night. They'll run through Bergen before they must climb almost 2,700 metres to the Orgel Pass. In Savagnin, some fresh legs in the T81 category will join them. The participants in the T201 category now have covered 109 kilometres. The distance and the weather are taking their toll, with the field depleting by the hour.
It's very good. I'm coming from France. It's the first time that I do the Swiss Iron Trail. I'm very happy. It's magic to run by night. Yeah.
The first to arrive in Savagnin late in the evening is the leader of the T141 category. Yes, it's okay, it was nice, but we still have a long way to go. Second is Austrian Florian Grasel, who's leading the T201 category. I just want to survive and take care that the skin of my feet won't tear. It's looking really terrible. This must be true love. As soon as you're higher than 2,500 metres, it's really difficult to breathe. It's crazy. Leading the T201 category for the majority of the race was Michael Buchi, but his luck has changed.
Der Rennverlauf eigentlich verlief folgegemäß gut.
Well, the race has gone well so far, but in the early morning I noticed that something was not right. After 110 or 120 kilometres, I realised that I can't perform anymore. Well, you have to listen to your body and be able to abandon a leading position if things like that happen.
Einmal mehr halt auf seinen Körper hören und auch eine Leading Position abgeben können. Das kommt im Sport halt vor.
Tons of angle and smoke on course and showmanship. Look at that! judged on execution and style. It's high-powered,
Tremendous run right here.
high-skilled, and high-speed entertainment.
Man, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Outdo, outperform, outmaneuver, taking motorsport to the extreme. Formula Drift 2015 on Edge Sport. The biggest action sports festival is back in Malaysia, Langkawi for its second year.
You see the crowd behind me? They have come out in droves.
Packed with extreme entertainment.
Let's check out the beach.
Skateboard, BMX, wakeboard, inline skate and mountain bike. Catch up with the world's best athletes. Beast World Series Malaysia 2015 on Edge Sport. The final showdown. The ultimate test. Who will be victorious? World Surf League 2015. The Billabong Pipe Masters live on Edge Sport.
Well, the middle of the field is just reaching the Orgel Pass and is lucky enough to enjoy a beautiful sunrise. Obviously, the weather has finally taken a turn for the better. The T201 runners have been going for 24 hours and most of them haven't slept. They've covered 118 kilometers and ascended over 6,000 vertical meters. Back to Savignon, and the T81 runners are warming up for their 10 a.m. start. I didn't have that much time for warming up. That's why we used some warm-up gel on my leg. We'll ascend 1,200 meters to start with. After that, it's 1,500 meters of descending. Then it's just roller coaster until the end. Runners leave the start and head for the summit of Zital. That's over 1,200 meters of vertical climbing before dropping down to the lowest point of the route at 850 meters at Tiefencastel. Then it's on to Lenzerheide before being joined by the start of the T41. The T201 runners have covered 120 kilometers before they reached Riom village. They passed the Riom Castle, which was converted into the famous Oregon Theatre some years ago. Saba has a great start to his T81 race and is the first in his category to reach the food station at Zital, almost 2,500 meters above sea level. In the T141 race, Daniel Lucker, currently in second place, is making his way up to Zital. He's covered 64 kilometers, so he's almost halfway through his race. The weather has cleared and now the athletes are starting to suffer at the other end of the temperature scale. Bernadette Benson still has a convincing lead in the T201 category. She's covered 141 kilometers now, and she's followed up by Yukari Nishida, who still has a smile on her face after all those kilometers. As Bernadette arrives in Tiefencastel, she makes the final decision to leave the race.
I think even before Naz, I said I was going to stop. And then I decided, okay, I'll go to Bergen, and then maybe I'll stop. And then I'll go to Filsar, maybe I'll stop. And, you know, on all the staff, everybody, they're so great, and they're all encouraging, and they're all helpful. But I don't want to hike. No. I'm a run. I just need to run.
Lenzerheide is the start location of the shortest leg of the race, the T41. The T201 runners have covered 154 kilometres and will be joined by some very fresh and very fast new legs.
Yeah, you never know the competition and who's going to turn up to a race, so there's always a bit of uncertainty as to how things are going to go. So yeah, it's just a mixture of excitement and nerves at the unknown. Once you start, then you're focused on what you're doing and it's fine, but the last few minutes of waiting are quite nervous for me.
Es ist ein bisschen, eigentlich so, wenn ich es nicht so gern habe.
It's something I don't like so much. I wasn't able to practice and prepare as I normally do because I was injured. That's why this is an experiment for me today. I don't have a clue what will happen.
Ich weiß gar nicht, was habe keine Idee, was wird passieren.
The T41 group leaves Lenzerheide and heads out through the forest and lakes before hitting the climb to the Weisshorn. At 2,653 metres, it's the highest point on their route. They traverse through Arosa, then attack a final peak at Strela Pass before all the categories finish in Davos. Saba has had some bad luck. He limps into Lenzerheide with an injured foot, an unavoidable accident on the last section. He inspects the damage, grits his teeth and continues, but doesn't hold out much hope from maintaining the lead. The penultimate peak, the Weisshorn, takes some tenacity from the longer distance runners. Daniel Lucker is still in second place in the T141 category. He's covered 110 kilometres. Andreas Alvang, on the other hand, has covered 177 kilometres and is still leading the T201 class. But the end is in sight. They drop down to 1,700 metres before attacking the last peak at Strela Pass. Then it's on to Davos for the finish. After almost 20 hours and 141 kilometres of alpine terrain, still travelling at speed, the first to enter the finish chute is Matthias Diepacher from Germany. He wins the T141. I always tried to keep visual contact with the leader. After about 70 kilometres, I took the lead. At first, I didn't want to run away from him, but then it just happened. And then, for sure, you try to give everything in order to stay in front. One hour and 20 minutes later, and in second place in the T141 class, a very pleased Daniel Lucker fights his way to the finish line. Next to reach the finish is T41 winner Benny Hug. He's completed the course in just less than 6 hours. The Swiss is 15 minutes ahead of his closest rival, a great result for his first race this season. Yes, for sure I'm happy that it's worked out this well. Well, certainly I felt some pain in the knee. In a manner of speaking, I didn't run, but only hiked, though I shouldn't say that. Today I had to clench my teeth, but now I'm super happy. Just 18 minutes later, Helen crosses the line, 20 minutes ahead of the rest of the field and first in the women's T41 category.
It's good, it was a really nice race, but I could definitely feel that I'd done a hard race last weekend. But the last 15 kilometres were beautiful in the evening light on the Alpine Pass. It was really beautiful.
For the second time, the sun sets on the race and the winner of the T201 category is revealed. With a total time of 38 hours and 15 minutes, Andreas Alvang is crowned the winner of the most prestigious class in the race.
Ich habe eigentlich gedacht, dass ich halt bei Tageslicht
Actually, I'd hoped to come here in daylight. That was my goal, but I didn't manage it. But I got first place. That's incredible. Up to the 140-kilometer points, I felt quite well. But then the blisters became really big. I felt like running on raw meat. That was tough, especially when we had to run down the mountain. That was really hell. That's why I had to be even faster uphill in order to keep the distance to the others. The Hungarian duo crossed the finish line together. Ildiko winning the women's T81 and Szaba coming in third in the men's, even with a damaged ankle. I'm happy that I'm at the finish. This is the first time I've been running in Switzerland. I love the trail very much and enjoyed the running here in these beautiful mountains. Well, it was a very hard day physically and mentally as well. When my ankle was injured, a pretty severe pain started. I was practically only able to walk, but I've tried to produce more adrenaline through running in order to feel less pain. At 3 a.m. and after 43.5 hours of racing, a confused and extremely shocked Giuliana Arrigoni crosses the finish line in first place. I'm very happy I won this competition. I'm very surprised because due to the long distance and the difficulty of the course, I didn't expect this. Arrigoni had overtaken Yukari during a rest stop, unbeknown to the Japanese athlete. After 43.5 hours of racing, she'd finished just 2 minutes and 20 seconds behind the Italian winner. Not just the winners, but all the finishers of the Swiss Iron Trail showed an incredible capacity for orienteering, adaptability, self-reliance, and above all, tenacity to complete this fantastic alpine adventure. I think it was a very successful event. I've seen many happy faces here at the finish. That's usually a good sign for a top event. I'm very happy with my result. I'd never expected I could win here.